Long ago, 20 years to be exact, which is pretty much like 200 years in internet years, the internet was a different place, and some would even call it the Wild West, where you could either find some of the best content available or just infect your computer with every known type of computer virus. Now, don't get me wrong, this total freedom on the internet, although liberating, was also sometimes traumatic. However, this was a period of undeniable experimentation and expression that created an age of unheard of entertainment, art, music, and of course, games. You could even call it a renaissance of sort, as it created the indie developer, and most of it was due to one program, Flash. I grew up with so many different games and platforms to explore on the internet, where you would play various Flash games for hours on end, be it at home, at school, or recesses, or even in the classrooms when the teacher wasn't looking. And in this age of the Wild West, communities started to form, mostly around specific topics such as games, books, or movies. And these different interests brought together like-minded people of the same age all around the world. There were social circles for everyone. How kids tended to play Club Penguin, Barbie dress-up games, tweens playing Habbo Hotel or RuneScape, and teenagers hanging around MySpace and Flash games, etc. And adults enjoyed their own specific spaces. But what was then is now gone. Because nowadays, the internet is no longer the Wild West. Some would say it has been civilized. But I call it centralized and controlled by a handful of websites and companies such as X, Instagram, Google, Facebook, and YouTube. Many websites hosting communities and games had to shut down due to lower traffic, and only a handful of platforms from the back in the day are still running. The old internet is dead, and we are not getting an internet 2 anytime soon. But the question is, how did all of this happen? In this video, I will explain 3 main reasons as to why children's spaces on the internet has disappeared. It's quite normal behavior that kids naturally tend to try and hanging out with teenagers because it's a natural attraction, as they want to hang out with some cool and hip people, while teenagers want to hang out with adults and be treated as, well, adults. And some adults unfortunately want to hang out with kids, and yeah, that's not okay. And this has become a tremendous issue today, since many platforms are for every age and group, and many interests that used to be a niche have now been removed and replaced with a one-fits-all category, where a platform now tries to please everyone. And you know the saying though, when you try to please everyone, you please no one. And I remember recently a meme that started a trend about children casually walking into adult spaces where they were not supposed to be. And many companies take these things seriously, as they do not want a lawsuit on their hands. And this is one of the main reasons why Tumblr stopped featuring all adult content, which was known as the Tumblr Exodus, which unfortunately made them all migrate to Reddit and X. Of course, this was not just about making the platform safe for children. This was often just an excuse, as the real motive is to become ad-friendly. And adult stuff is never good for advertisers. And the reason why so many websites has become for everyone instead of just kids is because moderation must be enforced when making a website or game where children can communicate with each other. Hell, Club Penguin became so censored and easy to get banned that there were literal speedruns of people trying to get banned the fastest. A lot of games and websites changed their terms of service and moderation after a massive expose program on Habbo Hotel was released, where adults used it to chat with underage children, and was one of the main reasons why Habbo Hotel died, because it was moderated and censored to death. Moderation is also quite expensive, as you need real people behind the moderation compared to an automated system. The considerable cost of hiring moderators is because even though, we like to make memes about Club Penguin's moderators, where the moderation is only second to Gestapo, it's still essential because in the terms of service, Club Penguin has promised to make this website a safe space for children, and if they cannot provide that service, they are liable for lawsuits. There are, however, many reasons for the closure of Club Penguin, and if you want a more in-depth video, I have made a longer video that only focuses on Club Penguin. One main issue is that parents should be monitoring what their children are up to when surfing the internet.
Grexy, I'm both respecting your privacy by knocking, but asserting my authority as your father by coming in anyway.
But in the modern day, it's a little bit different. Because today, both parents are working full-time jobs to earn a living. Both parents now come home without any energy and they just wanna chill. So what do? You hand your kids the iPad, who will act as a nanny. And this goes hand in hand with how YouTube has regulated its comment section, as they are automatically turned off on child-friendly content. And it's just unfortunate that instead of finding other solutions to this problem, YouTube decided to just shut down the chat for everyone in these videos. So companies nowadays don't want to create space for children because of high maintenance costs for moderation and the dangers of lawsuits, while also making all adult spaces more brand friendly by banning not safe for work content, and probably the main reason, which is simply kids only have little money compared to adults, which leads us to...
Here comes the money.
Here we go, money talk.
Here comes the money.
Modern monetization is a plague, especially in the mobile gaming market, where you are bombarded with ads for the best deals, buy now, and limited time offers. The old monetization model relied on ads before you play the game and more or less all around the screen whenever you play the game, and the game was free for any user to play, and they only paid by watching ads on the side. The current model has changed vastly since the smartphone revolution, which has promoted games that use FOMO, fear of missing out on content, making some content maybe timed, or you only have this much time left to buy this edition, and if you don't do it, you're gonna miss out. And it's a really reprehensible marketing tactic. Because back in the early internet age and during Flash specifically, these games and websites were a golden age for children because they were free. There was no entry fee to play Flash games, and there was no such thing as buying booze with real money to get ahead in the game. Games tended to reward players who put the most effort and time into them. You could play Candy Crush games for free back in the day without spending a dime, and today it's one of the most profitable franchises of all time due to microtransactions. Today's games have fully embraced this and created freemium games, which are highly addictive to children. And we have seen plenty of times in the news how some children spend thousands of dollars on certain games. And there is also the fact that children do often not have money, or at least not much of it compared to adults. So many games try to appeal to everyone, but they mostly want adults or single people who has a lot of money and who are also whales who can spend thousands of dollars on just one game. And this has further removed the child label on games and different platforms, as they want to go after the money. Adult spaces are being sanitized under the premise of,
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
both kids and adults had their own designated space on the internet before the ad-friendly content started to be a thing, and now neither has their own platform. Now, one of the reasons why so many platforms are trying to be ad-friendly was due to a certain event called the Adpocalypse, which started after PewDiePie did a video making some quite edgy jokes which back in the late 2000s or early 2010s would not have made a ripple, but it created chaos in 2016, and this event showed how much power advertisers have over media platforms and companies and the internet in general, because they have the power to turn off the money flow, and most websites still rely on ads. And this is why much of the edginess of older games or anything in general has disappeared from so many platforms, because back in the day, of course, technology always evolves. For example, how some consider old gaming consoles to be the greatest compared to nowadays, when you don't even have physical discs anymore, and some games that you buy can disappear at a moment's notice, like what happened to The Crew. And this evolution would also change the internet in more ways than one, which leads us to the last point.
Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything.
Flash as a program was heavily flawed in its security system, and computers that used Flash had an increased chance of being vulnerable to hacking, which is also why Flash was discontinued in 2020. Another vital factor is 2 new platforms that support indie developers: the smartphone market, as previously mentioned, and Steam, which hosts probably most of the greatest indie games ever made, and they are perfect distributors for said games. Developers can also price their games for a number compared to the older model when playing games was free and you relied on ads. Here you get a flat price. Furthermore, the different programs for developing games also changed as other development tools came out on the market, which is pretty much Unreal Engine and Unity, which are 2 of the most used developer tools. There's also the development time for games. Back then, Flash games, even some of the bigger ones, took a few months to make, with just 1 or 2 people making these. The first Riddle School, for example, took around 1 week to make. In modern day game development, it's often unusual to be working alone, and the dev cycle can take several years for an indie game to come out. And one of the reasons for this is because Steam does not allow that many low-effort games to just flood the market. I do not envy the children growing up on the internet today. A restricted place with censorship, games that try to squeeze you out of all your money, every single platform and media trying to get your attention where they bombard you with dopamine hits in short intervals, and has consequently reduced children's attention span. Some might call the old internet only nostalgic, and perhaps that is correct. We all yearn for a simpler time when we were younger, but it's undeniable that the old internet was more creative, more accessible, and less corrupt than today. And I do hope that children will be able to experience something better than the current day media and internet in general. This video was quite different from the ones I usually make, but this is a topic I have wanted to explore for a long time. If you liked the video, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good one, guys.